live on the mic. I have no reason
Ooh.
to record the video this go around because I got liquor. I'm in my underwear. I might stand up, so no video recording. Or like we'll upgrade your background game, and then maybe we'll do some video
Yeah,
stuff.
right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's okay. Nobody needs to see what's happening on my side.
I mean, I just know you went to Target. That's all I know.
That's fine.
All right. Peter Bob picked the pickle peppers. Big bang. Bomb bomb. Ba ba booey. Gotta love that run. All
I
right.
feel like a good baby.
You ready, Jam?
Yep, I got my lip balm all set.
You know what? I should probably get some lip balm, but I'd rather bring it in to episode 8 of Big Letter Little Letter podcast. I am your host, Hedo.
And I'm your co-host, Jam.
Hey, Jam, how you doing?
I have had better days, but I'm all right.
Well, I've been doing pretty good. I've been on the job hunt. Everyone knows that from my other podcast, Hitchhiker's Guide to Ethical Non-Monogamy. Check it out. And yeah, just been on the job hunt. Been doing some deliveries and stuff, and getting ready to perform a show on the 18th.
That's exciting. Tell us more about the show.
So yeah, going to the event called the Kink Box that is hosted by Urban Play ATX. They hosted the event February of 2020 before the world said, "All right, y'all are done. Have a seat." It was a fun event. It was cool, and now for me to be one of the performers was actually pretty fucking dope. And I will be there with my anchor partner. I'm gonna do an impact scene demo, kind of like give explanations to the kinksters and non-kinksters in attendance of how we do what we do.
Didn't we just talk about you showing the world what you know how to do?
Maybe not. I don't know. My memory's a little foggy.
The people will remember, and we are all very proud.
Glad I'm just getting this opportunity. And what have you been up to outside of not sleeping?
I'm doing my doula thing, fortunately and unfortunately, which is why I haven't been sleeping. But also, I was in a wedding last weekend and it was beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, please take me back to Jamaica. I need the crisp blue water and some rum punch.
So that's where you were, because you just posted that picture. I'm like, is there a hedonism trip that I missed a note about?
No, but we need to plan that. Need to get out there for it.
Oh yeah, I'm almost finished my payments. We got July. I am ready to be on the beach with my buns out.
Oh my gosh. I'll be at Blur Con in July, but in May, we are going to be in the same area.
That we are. We might as well plug it because that's what counselors should be doing. To the listeners, there will be an event happening in Kent, Connecticut, hosted by Experience Covet and the Fun Sexual.
Two of my favorite groups of people.
So yeah, it's gonna be a sleepaway camp. It is catered to melanated people. So listeners that are lacking the melanin, I mean, hey, I like white people. I ain't got beef with y'all, and y'all tuning in, happy about it. My Asian brethren, look, I love Bosco. I mean, I watch American Dragon
Oh
and
my gosh.
look, the last Avatar. I listen to their podcast. His voice sounds the same. And I'm like, yo, you could work forever. But anyways, and Afro Latinas, you can slide through. White Latinas, I don't know. Coin flip, I guess hit up the host, but it's gonna be a good time. It's the event for non-kinksters and kinksters alike, so it's not like, oh, you gotta be freaky to come. You come, show up, have a good time, connect, relax, be in nature.
If you've ever wanted to go to adult sleepaway camp like me, this is the time. Plus, if you ever wanted to learn about the kink that you're learning about on this podcast, that's also a good time because Hedo is going to be involved in the workshop, and so will I.
Yep, and the best part is that they actually will be giving payment plans. The total cost is 800. And all right, I hear 800. Yo, that's a lot. But hear me out. It pays for your trip, your travels from the air to and from the airport, both on arrival date and when you're leaving. For all the food, for all the drinks, for the excursion. This is an all-inclusive sleepaway camp. And
I
yes,
know
when
you
I say drinks, I include the
said
liquor.
all the drinks.
So yes, they will do a payment plan so that way you can break it up so you're not trying you don't have to give it all up at once. But no, be sure to like look into it. I'll drop the link in the show notes.
Yes, I'm so excited for that one. Plus, I get to get my cuddle bag.
Yes, Cuddle Workshop. We're gonna talk about cuddle puddles on this podcast down the line because it's my co-host specialty. So how I'm not gonna have an episode talking about cuddles and cuddle puddles when I have a professional cuddler in my midst.
You're right. We'll definitely get into that. But today, what is the letter?
See, we spoil y'all. We're gonna give you two letters today. We're gonna give you D is for daddy and M is for mommy.
Very excited. Please, Hedo, tell us what is a daddy and a mommy?
So when it comes to daddy and mommies, they're essentially the same with some differences because of course we know what daddies and mommies can be. Now, daddy, mommy, is a wide range of term used across many different sexual situations and sexualities to describe the dominant partner in a relationship. We're not talking about that daddy in the sexual sense or that mommy in the sexual sense. So, like, we all know the joke. A young lady at a dinner table says, "Can you pass me the mashed potatoes, daddy?" And two men reply, "Yeah." First off, the joke always gets me to like giggle a bit because it is like it has to be the most awkward situation. Like number one,
Every time.
so you're saying your man don't know that keep quiet about the freaky shit y'all do?
Friend.
All right. Now, just so it's known, age playing role playing as mommy or daddy is not related to pedophilia in any way, contrary to what some may believe. There was a bad stint a couple years ago, so I was 2021, where you had trolls and bots that tried to do that whole putting pedophilia with the LGBTQA plus movement, which I wish more people were smarter, but my belief is people are stupid. So the fact people bought into that gibberish is like, why do y'all hate gay people so much? Like, do y'all hate them that much that you want to qualify the idea that, oh yeah, they like pedophiles? Like, and the irony is, some of these people were still rooting for R. Kelly. I don't get it.
Listen, we're not going to talk about that today,
Okay,
okay?
okay,
That's a
okay.
whole nother discussion.
My bad. ADHD tangents. But anyways, so individuals have or act as either also typically not interested in incest. So yeah, the whole concept is purely off role. It's all about that power dynamic. It's nothing too crazy. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they're just lying so they can get away with being nasty. So,
It's true. But I do want to mention, I've been reading a really wicked series of books about firemen daddies. Check it out. It's unedited. They do use the word cock. I'm sorry, but it has really good information in it because the last one was about a woman who didn't know that she could be a little. And the way they explained it was like, well, do you ever feel most comfortable when you're with your stuffies? Do you ever feel most comfortable when somebody else is taking care of you? And I was like, oh my God, best explanation ever.
see, that was your turn for a tangent. But don't worry, peoples. We're going to age play next, so we'll dive deeper into that. So make sure you find which book that is, so we can recommend it.
Oh, they're on Amazon for free. So get into it.
There we
It's
go.
like a million books.
At least she gave y'all a trigger warning about the word cock. Now,
I know.
so this relationship is more about dominance and submission, as well as recreating the emotion and experience of childhood. Now, daddy and mommy are commonly used in a power exchange relationship where one partner identifies as a submissive to the dominant daddy or mommy. They can be stern or caring, can inflict punishment and provide rewards, and can assume the role during sex or in real life, depending on the relationship. In most instances, daddy refers to a male partner, mommy refers to a female partner, though the term can be used by anyone who wants to adopt either persona. They can be found in many different relationship structures, and terms not limited by any specific sexuality. Honestly, it's whatever y'all negotiate. Now, they're two different words. There's a reason why it's D, and D for daddy and for mommy. So, of course, there's going to be differences between the two. Now, central to most uses of daddy is the idea of a father figure who is both discipline and protection. A mommy is a dominant female figure who acts as another partner's mother. Mommies overlap significantly with mistresses and other type of female dominance. Only this type of relationship tend to be gentler and more nurturing, and to avoid dynamics like servitude. As we mentioned before, the main difference is how someone chooses to present their feminine or masculine energy.
Yeah. I know, like, I tell you guys all the time, I'm learning as you're learning, so that's why we're here. But I did want to bring up what's the difference? Because I know someone out there is like, well, then why daddy or why mommy? And, I want you to be who you are. But let's talk a little bit more about mommies and daddies. So, people identifying as a daddy or mommy are often older or deemed more mature. Another use of daddy is in daddy dom or little girl, and equivalents for different gender and sexuality dynamics. And they feature varying degrees of age and role play around the roles of parental figure and childlike partners. These relationships are more overt in their roles and are more likely to involve age specific clothing, props, mannerisms, and language. People use these terms in different ways, depending on the desired relationship and dynamics. For some, just calling someone daddy or mommy elicits a thrill that evokes both discipline and nurturing. As dominance, a daddy or mommy often leads and guides both sexual and real life scenarios. Some provide both physical and emotional dominance, including spanking, paddling, and verbal rebukes and lectures. They will also provide cuddling, it's my favorite, hugs, and soothing. Tender words to offer care, and all of these can happen within a sexual context or completely outside of sex. Some help guide their partners through everyday adulting activities.
So yeah, when it comes to, especially in regards to how these dynamics guide the other, I feel like it's good to make clear that when they say sexual or real life scenarios, more times than not, that sexual moment is when said person is not in a little space. There's
Yeah,
no.
that's important to bring up.
So yeah, so yes, when we bring up the fact that there are some sexual inclinations, more times than not, especially if you're dealing with littles in the playground, no one in that playground is thinking, "Ooh, I want to suck daddy's dick." No, they're in their own little space. They're in their own little world. In those moments, that's where you're supposed to be that nurturing guide. Those real life scenarios. Those, hey, did you do this? All right, I'm gonna need you to write lines, like things of that nature. Versus the
That's
other
when you're
one,
passing juice boxes and snacks.
yep, that's when you got the stuffy on the ready. Whenever they scratch their knee or something, like that's the nurturing side in regards to daddy. Sexual side is they're not in that little space no more, and they about to you nurture them enough to where when they come back they're fully rejuvenated, and ready to give you that gawk 10,000. That's all I'm
Oh
saying.
my gosh. But I think the most important part is that what we're talking about is the kind of relationship where both people are able to feel good. And when people feel good, you could get into the feel good.
Hey now, all right now, Jam, what kind of like all right, how can the kink play out? Like, what ways can these like daddy mommy dynamics play out?
All right, so let me sum it up a little bit. So, mommy and daddy king can play out in a number of ways, including in a nurturing way. So, like Mommies or daddies might be nurturing to their submissives by cuddling, comforting them, stroking their hair, nursing them, which is something else we could talk about later, but also caring for them in a number of ways. Mommies and daddies can also administer punishment and more BDSM style of playing. So, this would involve punishing them when they break key rules and boundaries. And they typically involve consensual types of BDSM play that they enjoy, like spanking, restraints, tease and denial, forced orgasms, and other sorts of play that fall under dominant submissive play. A really important part of mommy and daddy king is that there are rules and boundaries, and this is important in any dominant and submissive relationship. But sometimes there are more rules when you're playing as a mommy or daddy. So they might have rules for their little to follow, like how they dress, how they behave, how they go about their day. And if the rules are broken, it might mean a punishment. The last part is that there's self expression. Couples in this dynamic may choose various ways to express their roles. This might include the way they speak to each other, the way they dress when they're carrying out their roles, and the activities they enjoy while in these roles.
And everyone, please understand that all these are negotiated. Nothing is intuitive. No one just like picks it up on the fly. So all these various aspects that were described, that's handled during negotiation between two consenting adults of clear mind. That hey, if you do X, your punishment will be Y. If you do, these are my boundaries. I do not want bodily fluids to be hurled at me. Like those are the things that are negotiated because, rules and boundaries are equal for both the dominant and the submissive. Though sometimes it's forgotten that the dominant also does have their own boundaries and rules that must be followed. Otherwise you lose the dominant.
For sure. And we'll bring up consent in every episode. But let's take a break and we can talk a little bit more about how people can get started in this kind of dynamic.
You heard the lady. Be right back. All right, recording is up, and they can hear me over there. And Jam, are you back?
I'm back.
She ain't never left.
People have to take breaks. I had tea.
I mean, reasonable. So, if anything, let's go ahead and get into the second part of this podcast and get started with just talking about the choosing.
So now that you know a little bit about daddies and mommies, and if it piqued your interest enough, let's talk about how you can choose to use this term in your relationship. So, you definitely want to negotiate with your partners because not everyone will feel comfortable using daddy and mommy. While some relationships will include distinct dominance and submission, consent is still the cornerstone of this relationship. If you'd like to introduce these terms or dynamics into your relationship, discuss it in advance. Given how prevalent negative daddy issues are for both dominants and submissives, you don't want to accidentally trigger your partner.
Definitely, because daddy issues is the number one joke of lazy comedians that just don't understand how women work.
Right?
Now, one important discussion to have is how much daddy or mommy there will be in your relationship. It is a term. Is it a term to spice things up in the bedroom sometimes, or is it something deeper, signifying a needed connection? Is it an occasional or situation specific relation, or might you consider both taking on the role in a 24/7 dynamic? These are the considerations that might be instant and obvious, or might evolve over time.
All super important questions to have. And I'll reminisce on the start of my relationship later on. But let's talk about you guys. So, while all partners in relationships have responsibilities, a daddy or a mommy may have a little extra on their plate. With the dual focus of both care and discipline, People who gravitate to these terms and these roles are typically natural caregivers, nurturers, and people who generally good at organization and adulting. My partner begged to disagree, but I think he's doing a pretty good job. Some folks who have daddies or mommies note that they provide distinct sexual thrills and chills, but their daddies and mommies will also help encourage them in conquering life's hurdles, such as laundry, my personal struggle, taxes, and even something as simple as staying hydrated, also a personal struggle. To be able to take these responsibilities on for another adult takes a very specific personality type.
So it's just it's a dance. That's how I treat all things in life when dealing with another person. It's all a dance. When it comes to these dynamics, these negotiations, these understandings, it's all a dance. And sometimes your dance partner is not the dance partner for you, but other times you find that right dance partner is a good ass time.
Right. I know we're a country that loves labels and to live by those boxes, but when you engage in BDSM and any type of role, you have to remember that things are fluid and people have their own feelings, experiences, need their validations. And those are all things to consider.
And this is why I'm a relationship anarchist. Wahaha. All
Tell
right.
us more about your thoughts, Hedo.
All right. So we're in the section. We ain't got a title for this yet, but anytime we go over through a letter of the day, we like to give our own little personal thoughts to it. We'll come with a cute or dope ass name in the future because so far we're competing with Kinkly Weekly. Like that. That's a strong ass segment.
You're getting better at saying it.
I mean, ever since I stopped adding trying to do Kinkly Weekly, like no Kinkly Weekly.
Perfect.
Maybe it's the rum in my system right now. Who knows? All right, now my own personal thoughts are all right. Not all the world, please understand, it's not everybody. We understand that. But from what I've seen and what I experienced, we are in a gendered society, so no one thinks about the flipped idea of that daddy dom little girl situation. Like when you see DDLG, it's a given, but you never ever really see MDLB, which would stand for mommy dame little boy, which those dynamics exist. It's just that they're not as predominantly labeled. Not even Kinkley has it in his dictionary, and we use Kinkley in this episode. Like, I just go into Kinkley when I'm bored and want to look some stuff up. So this is not a knock on them. It's just that it's just how society is structured. You know, the penis is almighty. But yes, the flip does exist. I feel like these roles are really about patience, providing guidance, and feeling needed. There is also a difference in dynamic when we are talking about Brat, but that's going to be for another episode.
Yeah, well.
What about you, Jam? What's your thoughts on this?
So I talk to you guys all the time about my growing and learning experience, but as I always do, I was talking to my partner about his decision to be a daddy after being in a submissive role for a good portion of his time at Kink. And he was explaining how different our dynamic is from his past role as a daddy. And it made me think about the conversation of expectations, but also purpose when you're establishing a daddy and mommy dynamic. For me, I know I can play rough and I get a little wild, but I also need a lot of care. So I also like that as a little in the dynamic, I have my own way of showing care back to my daddy, which energizes him. Remember that doms and subs, daddy, mommies, and littles, like it's an energy exchange.
Oh no, I just had to clutch my pearls. Jam being wild?
Ha!
Huh. Good luck to you, brother P. Don't mind me, just having a good time here. And no, that's very insightful, and I actually do appreciate that coming from the little side. So I am forever thankful that you asked to be a part of this because there are some things that I'm learning that I would have missed without you here.
Yeah, I mean, I like to learn and share at the same time.
All right, well, just know that's appreciated. Now, I feel like this is where we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. It's been a quality episode with some quality information. Jan, you want to go ahead and feed the people where the socials, where they can reach you, what you will, but what you up to?
Come and find me. You can find me on Twitter as Lady Lies Waiting, on IG as I_mean_her, on Fet as LoveAphrodite, and of course you can find me on my website and see all of my business, MaryJane'sCouch.space. Book a cuddle session, get a doula, do some yoga. What you need, I got it.
Hey, yo, we try to get her on that entrepreneur ish where she ain't got to clock in no more. Like, help a sister out.
Please, I need sleep.
All right, I am Hedo, also known as the Hedonistic Dom. Even got a backup IG known as Hedo the Dom. Shout out to Rich Black Chocolate for that name. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, hedonistic_dom, Instagram at hedonisticdom, and Fetlife at hedonisticdom_. Drop in line, hit me up. Hell, we even taking guests. We will soon have our first guest on here because I did tell Coco Kitty like we're gonna go ahead and orchestrate it because she is a
I'm
little,
so excited,
and we're gonna have a little party. So,
hooray!
So that's what we're gonna have for the people. And yeah, this has been another episode of Big Letter Little Letter Podcast.
Bye, everybody.
All right, just make sure y'all stay safe and be kinky. Peace.